Be careful when you leave.
Exactly. If you are not feel very secure, you can go that stairway because there's a ramp there. You can put your hand there, and we are going down. We're going to the. You know how do you call this area in an amphitheater? It's called arena because there's sand. So how is it called in the theater? It's called orchestra. Orchestra. Later, in the movie theaters, when it was silent, they had a band playing there, and they call it orchestra. And so we call today the band, we call it orchestra, but we call it by the place where it used to gather. You see there? So let's go to the orchestra, pass by the stage, and we'll exit on the right side by one of the two main vomitoria. What is vomitoria? Exit. When your foot is doing a fast exit, we call that vomit. So the Latin is for exit. Vomitoria. Take a VIP. So there were common people who wanted to enter, and the VIP. Do we do the same today?
Go on, Nathan.
Okay, thank you.
Very good having you guys.
We've been to Evansville, Indiana.
Between the stage and the seats, we have the two main vomitorias, again, for the VIP. When the governor comes, the chief, the king, he comes a different entrance and different exit. Again, there's a few reasons. The main one is usually security. When you have so many people, maybe someone is waiting for you there to kill you. So you need a special guard. And also it's wise because you're not walking. You have security. So maybe you are on a kind of palanquin or on a kind of chariot. So it has to be wide. You're not walking like the rest. So the people went through the regular vomitoria. That was the VIP vomitoria. And they will sit down in the first seat. The row of seats has disappeared. When we'll be in Bet Shean, we'll see the VIP seats. The only one with a back. The seat where you were seated did not have a back, or it was the knees of the people behind you. It's not very comfortable. But they had a special seat made of marble, and they're preserved better in the theater of Bet Shean. Theater of Bet Shean is better preserved than this one, and is twice as big. And we're going to see that a little better. So, before we leave the theater, remember, stage. In Latin, scene. From here we have the word scene. S-C-E-N-E. Scene. Don't make a scene. When you say someone don't make a scene, what does it mean?
Don't get on the stage.
Yeah, don't start, your whatever thing you want to do. Don't make a scene. But something is missing in this theater. They recreated it artificially. Please leave a passage. My colleague Moses with the children of Israel are passing right now. Okay, so just one thing, something is missing here. It was a big construction that started from here all the way to the top, and it blocked actually the whole view. When you were at the theater at that time, you didn't see the sea. You didn't see the landscape. You had a huge wall that was called the backdrop. Today we have backdrops, made of all kinds of things. They can move and things. At that time it was fixed. It was a huge structure, beautifully decorated, like the facade of a temple. That means a lot of the plays of the Romans, in their view, happened in the streets, but always with a temple behind. That made a beautiful scenery. And of course, we have to keep in mind, the Romans and the Greek were very devout people. Maybe they did not know the real God to worship, but they worship them devoutly. And everything included in their plans the divinity. You see these small niches there at the foot of the, you see there where the gentleman is standing there? There's niches, little enclaves there. You see there? All along the stage. When you see a niche in Shalom Lecha, in archaeological, in what we call classical architecture, when you see a niche, you always have to think there was a statue there. Always. When you have a little apse or whatever, there was a statue there. And indeed, there were statues, they have disappeared. There were small divinities that were supposed to bless and protect the audience. Everything here means you ally entertainment, government, and religion in one authority. And so they were called, you know how they call them there? They call these divinities the auspices. Have you ever heard that word? Auspices? You hear usually under the auspices. Have you heard that? When the mayor is offering a gala dinner, under the auspices of the senator so-and-so or the president, that means under the protection. So there, again, we still use a lot of words from the theater because theater have stayed with us all the time. Another thing they use is also, they use a lot of ropes. Why that? Because from that backdrop, they were behind windows, stairs, and everything. So actors could appear on the balcony, from a window, can come down from heaven. If he was a god, he has to come down from heaven. So there were all systems of pulleys and ropes to bring down. And of course, you had to be a very good professional to work here, because you make a bad thing and the person crash down. And so you have to be, and we still use this sentence, he knows all the ropes. Because there are ropes to everything, and you don't want to mix your ropes, because then you are going to let that actor fall down. This is come also from the theater. You know, there were units of the Navy working in the big theaters and amphitheaters. Why that? Because they had sails to give shade. And they had actually sailors. What do we call sailors? Sailors, because they know how to handle ropes and sails. And they're the one who are deploying or opening the sails here. So lots of ropes in the theater, and we still use these sentences here. So scene, scenario, scenery, all that comes from the Greek, from the theater, that is still with us. And last but not least, Deus Ex Machina. Have you heard of Deus Ex Machina? It's God by a machine. A solution found like, how didn't we think about that? God is coming down and solves all the problems. That's amazing. Deus Ex Machina. The Americans don't know that because they don't know much Latin. But I think they found something instead. Americans say out of the blue. Literally the same. Down from heaven. Out of the blue. Out of the blue, you have the solution of all the problems.
Tito?
That's typical of Agatha Christie.
Tito, they
Yes.
went out.
What?
They all turned off.
Maybe it disconnected. Yeah.